Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to be reviewing our Bush Company 270 XT Max awning and our AX27 rooftop tent after having lived in it for a year around Australia.
Yeah, so we're going to be talking through some of the features and the benefits of both the tent and the awning, how it held up after living in it for a year, like Maddie said, and using them every single day, and how they went in some of the craziest places that we visited in Australia. For those of you who don't know us, we are Maddie and Em from Overland Explorers, and we have just spent an entire year on the road living out of our DMAX, traveling this beautiful country. We have used this tent and awning every single day for the last 365 days. And when we say that we have done an entire lap of Australia, we mean it. We have been to some of the most remote and beautiful places in this country. This thing has been all the way up to Cape York. We tackled the Telly track, which was absolutely beautiful. We headed over to the Kimberleys. We went down into the Kennedy Ranges. We spent the most magical time exploring the Victorian High Country, some beautiful coastal regions like Margaret River, the Nullarbor. Yeah, there's just too much to brag about this country. You'll have to go back and look at some of our YouTube series on some of the locations that we filmed along the way. So I'm going to run through the awning, and then we'll get Maddie on camera to run through what we loved about the tent and how that went as well. Right, so the awning that we have on the DMAX is the 270 XT Max Bush Company awning. And I mean, look at the size of this thing. This thing is absolutely massive. On the DMAX, it's a 270, so it runs from all the way from this side of the back all the way right to the front. It's absolutely massive. It's the biggest awning we have ever owned. So the canvas is made of a really high quality polycotton ripstop canvas. It's super thick. So one thing that Maddie and I noticed straight away was, even on those super hot days where the sun is like beaming down, there's absolutely no sun filtering through there. So it's really good UV protection. And rain as well, even in super heavy rain, we never got any leaks, anything like that. The quality of that canvas is really good. And again, we used it literally every single day in all weather conditions. And yeah, we never had any issues with rain or sun or anything like that, hey. It is a freestanding awning, so it doesn't come with poles. It does come with some guy ropes to sort of peg these down. We didn't really use them a hell of a lot, potentially in some super windy conditions just to sort of stop that updraft happening, or in super rainy conditions just to let it sort of run off. But we also found that we could also just slack the line off a little bit and let that rain sort of like naturally channel off the awning, and that worked perfectly as well. So we absolutely love that it doesn't come with heaps of extra things to pack and carry on the road, and it's strong enough to just sort of hold up on its own. Right back at the start, we were super impressed with how easily it mounted onto the car as well. We actually mounted it directly onto the Bush Company tent, so they're sort of designed really well to mount to each other, and I guess that provides a little bit of extra sturdiness, which we definitely noticed. We love how easy it was to mount right back at the start. So this thing has super strong aluminium arms as well, and it definitely holds up in some crazy weather. We've had it in some pretty crazy wind for sure, and we were super impressed with how it went. One of the most common questions we got whilst on the road about the awning was how quick and easy it was to set up and pack down. And yeah, it definitely was. I think we timed it one time and it was like, I think I did it in 30 seconds. And the best thing that I really like about it is the fact that I can do it absolutely myself. I don't need Maddie's help at all. I always appreciate Maddie's help, but it's always nice to be able to sort of set up our tent up and our awning up just on my own if that's all we have. So yeah, that's definitely one of my favorite features about it, is how easy it is to set up and pack down. So we've actually done a lap of Australia previous to this. We had an old Land Cruiser. We had a 270 awning at the time, but it was a smaller one. And we Found that was taking a little bit too much time to sort of set up and pack down, and so we didn't really use it as much. But because this one's so easy, we would stop on the side of the road and just to have lunch for even 15 minutes, and it was worth our time to get out and undo it because it was so quick and it was so comfortable to sort of sit under on the side of those beautiful gravel roads that gravel pits that Australia has. We cook under it. This is our kitchen side. We have sat under it, multiple campsites, just enjoying our beach views and our fire pits. We sit under the awning and edit our videos. Everything you can think of, it has come in handy for. It is definitely a product that we think you get what you pay for. I think it's worth the investment in something like this. Obviously, this particular awning is probably a little bit more in price range than some of the other cheaper brands out there, but from people who have used a range of awnings across our camping life, I don't think we could ever go back, and for us it was definitely worth the investment. Before I hand over to Maddie to chat about the tent, I wanted to address a question that so many people had asked us, and we get asked every single time we have, especially the back of the DMAX on camera, is how we access the tent when the awning is up from the back, given our ladder is on the back of our canopy. So, great question. We'll show you. In our DMAX setup, we, yes, have the ladder on the back of our canopy. If we want to use this ladder, all we do is we loosen the awning a little bit, and that allows us to climb up the ladder here. I don't know if you can see, maybe bring it around the side. So we can then keep this ladder down, and you can still sort of fit and climb up that way. And the good thing is, once you get up there, you can just reach out the side of the tent, and I can actually tighten it back up from inside the tent, which is super handy. So we can climb up and down that way. Some people might not like that idea. It actually works really, really well for us, and that we found that the easiest way. But as a backup, we can flip this ladder up, and in our trundle drawer, we keep the Bush Company ladder, so the ladder that the Bush Company tent comes with, and we can just mount it to the side of the Bush Company tent just here, so it sits here. And we can climb up and down and enter the tent from the side and keep our awning nice and tight and up the entire time.
All right, so the tent, the Bush Company AX27 Rooftop Tent. So this is really popular in their range as more of like the tourer, but also really popular with people who are just weekenders as well. So this thing's been around for quite a while, so it's tried and tested, which is one of the things that attracted us to using it for our big lap of Australia. So there's plenty to cover on the tent. I'll try and remember it all because there's stacks of features and stacks of benefits that we really loved about using this. I'll start probably from kind of the outside and work my way in. So yeah, starting with the outside, T-channel extrusions all the way around so that you can mount things like Em mentioned, such as the awning. That's where the awning gets a lot of its strength from, being mounted into these T-channels. I'd say some companies, that these T-channels are not all made equal. Some say, yeah, you can mount stuff to it, but I'd be very careful with how much weight you're putting on it. This holds 31 kilo awning, no dramas, not an issue at all. So you can obviously mount other things to it as well. So we've just got like little work lights and that kind of thing. The ladder mount that Em showed you before, that can be moved around and configured to however you like it. As far as the canvas goes, super good quality, really thick canvas. So that's the same polycotton ripstop canvas as is used in the 270 XT Max awning. So I think canvas is really important and probably something that's a little bit overlooked when people are shopping around for a rooftop tent. You need it to be good quality. It needs to be waterproof. It needs to block light. This does all of that. So we were super impressed with how well it was both waterproof, and it also blocked out a lot of light in the mornings as well. So it's a double canvas layer. So all of the windows have double canvas as well. So you've got 2 layers on every single window, as well as all of these panels are a double canvas. So that helps to insulate it, helps to keep out the sun, and helps to keep you warm when it's in colder weather as well. So we spent plenty of time in the Victorian high country. It wasn't in the middle of winter, it wasn't snowing or anything like that, but we're talking like down to 1 and 2 degrees overnight. And when you've got your windows done up and you just leave the vent at the top open, toasty as in there, No issues with condensation either. Previous tent that we used, we'd wake up in the morning, especially if it was really humid weather or a really cold night that we just had, and the walls of the tent would just be absolutely dripping wet from condensation. Just doesn't happen in this, especially if you leave that vent open. It's designed to let airflow in. You can even crack the top of your windows, given that you've got this massive rain fly that goes around. So even if it is raining a bit, just to let a bit of airflow across the top, and that just eliminates your condensation issues. It's been designed for various different weather extremes in mind. All right, so other exterior features, on the roof of the tent itself, there's plenty of room to mount solar panels. You can get crossbar kits as well. There's space to mount your max tracks. We put ours on the roof, but if you ever decide that you want to put max tracks on the roof, there's plenty of space. We managed to fit two 215 watt solar panels on the roof of ours. So we had a total of 430 watts of solar, which kept us charged up. That was, that was more than enough for what we did. And we've even got a microwave in here for those who have seen our other videos, which is pretty cool. Good quality gas struts on the sides. They held up really well. I've seen someone or a couple of people ask in Facebook groups and things like that, oh, is it an issue having gas struts extruding the side of the tent? And honest answer, no. Like, I don't know in what world that would be a problem. We've done, like Em said, the old telegraph track. We've done stuff that are tracks that are super narrow. I think if you're hitting those gas struts going down a track, then that's probably going to be the least of your problems. And if you did, it's super easy to replace them anyway. It's really not a big deal. I find those to be weighted really well. Slightly stiffer before you mount anything to the roof, but it's not unmanageable to pull the tent down. But then if you go and put a solar panel or some max tracks or anything like that, that little bit of extra weight makes it just that little bit easier to close the tent. So even Em is able to close that without a problem. So that made it nice and easy for us. Good quality powder coat on the exterior all the way around. I mean, this thing's just been absolutely everywhere, and it still looks as good as new. No dramas with that. That's been really good quality. Good quality fine midgie mesh as well. We've been camping in areas where there were stacks of midgies around, and obviously they're tiny, tiny little things that can get through the smallest of holes. I really like the balance that the guys have struck with this midgie mesh, where it's not too restrictive on airflow, but it also does stop the midgies getting in. Pretty important, because there's nothing worse than getting absolutely smashed by midgies when you're at camp. All right, so moving on to things we get asked about quite a lot are zippers as well. So YKK zippers all the way around, nice big thick tracks. No issues with those whatsoever. They haven't come off the tracks. Our previous tent, we literally had it come off multiple times. We had zippers snapping, had to replace them mid-trip, which is just an absolute nightmare. So these are nice big chunky zippers. If you do get dirt or dust in them, it's not a big deal. That I would definitely look at in your tents. Do they have good quality zippers like YKKs or something like that? That's going to save you a world of hurt if your zippers are performing. And you think about how many times you not only open and close the tent, but the zippers in particular. Like, this is our main entrance. This thing has been opened far more than 365 times. I mean, if we're camped up for the day, it's getting opened multiple times a day. Latchings at the back here, we really liked these nice large latches. So they make it really easy to close when you've pulled the tent down. You're not mucking around with those funny little eyelet things. Nice, big, good quality latches. You can also lock those too. So if you did want to store something up in the tent that you wanted to keep secure, you can padlock the side of these latches when they're closed. You can put one on each side. You can move these latches around along the T-channel extrusions too. So that's just a handy little feature if you did want to keep something up there that you needed to keep secure. Another thing that I would say that you should consider if you're looking at a rooftop tent, and something that we get asked about quite often, is wind noise. You're camped up and there is nothing worse than a flapping tent that's just absolutely relentless and you can't get any sleep. So like I said before, we've used a soft shell tent in the past and that thing was just nuts. Like, it was some of the worst sleeps I've ever had from just flapping, and it's really, really difficult to control it. Like, there were times where I had gaffer tape trying to strap things down and stop it from flapping around. This has been honestly really, really good. So there's a few different sort of, I guess I'd call them stages of wind reduction that you can use to stop things from moving around as much. But in saying that, it's even just right off the cuff set up like that. It's really not that bad compared to some of the stuff out there, but you can almost make it pretty much silent. You can get storm straps, so you can hook your storm straps up, and that's going to tighten up your rain fly. just to tighten up the front of that a bit. That reduces a fair bit of wind. If it's really windy, you can then move on to, if it's not raining, you can remove the entire rain fly. That completely comes off, and that reduces even more wind. And then if it's really, really windy, like we're talking nullarbor windy, like ridiculous, with the rain fly off, we actually found a bit of a trick where this strap is for packing the tent down, so that's to keep it nice and tight when you pull it down so that the fabric doesn't spill out the sides. But we put that around it on a few occasions, and that reduced wind flap even further. So you've got quite a few options on this that I feel like a lot of the tents out there, you don't have as much choice to reduce the wind. But yeah, like I said, even just like this, it has to be pretty bad for it to get annoying. So that was something I very much appreciated. And I think Em probably appreciated as well when I don't sleep well. She doesn't sleep well, and I'm not great on little sleep. So setup and pack down time, another thing that makes an enormous difference in your life, particularly if you're doing long trips, if you're living out of a tent for a year. It's just an absolute nightmare to have to spend more than, it sounds ridiculous, but if you're spending weeks and weeks or a year in a tent, more than a few minutes to set up and pack down, it really, really grinds on you. It's fine if it's maybe a night or two and it takes you half an hour to set up camp, but when it's every single day, you want to do everything you can to reduce how much time you have to invest in setting up and packing down your tent. So similar to the awning, we're only looking at about 30 seconds to set it up, 30 seconds to pack it down. It's not a big deal at all. We can pull into camp late, just pop it open and we're good to go. We can just crawl straight into bed. So we absolutely love that. It's literally just a case of opening the latches, popping in the spring rods and popping the lid up, you're done. Straight into bed, happy days. Okay, so I think that's it for the exterior. There's obviously stacks to cover, so if you feel like I've missed anything, just let us know in the comments and we'll get back to you and let you know. So moving on to the interior of the tent, very well thought out. You can tell that it's been created by people who camp, for people who camp. Plenty of storage pockets up on the roof. You can also buy additional storage pockets that just Velcro straight onto the ceiling. Storage pockets on the sides, so next to each person on each wall, and then down the foot of the bed, you've got 2 water bottle holders too. We use those every night. Super handy, especially if you have bottles that are prone to like leaky lids and stuff. You don't have to worry about it. You just pop them in the drink bottle holders. Another big thing for us was having power up there. So on each side of the tent, there's a SIG plug and a couple of USBs. So that's per person. We both have that on each side. There's just an Anderson plug on the base of the tent at the front. So it's really easy to run power up. We'd be charging up our phones overnight. If we're watching something on an iPad, we could plug it straight into there. We also had a SIG plug adapter for one of our laptops, so we're able to just plug it in upstairs and use the laptop up there if we were running out of charge. And then it also comes with a nice little tricolor light, so it's a white, amber and red, which is a USB-C plug, so you can have that plugged in and charging as well if you need it. So big plus having power in your tent. Once you've had power in there, you never want to go back. Now, another big question, mattress. So it comes with an 80 mil, I think it's an 80 mil, or yeah, it's an 80 mil mattress. It's flippable. So one side's firmer, one side is more of a medium firm. We spent probably about a week in it with the mattress that it came with before deciding for us for an entire year. We wanted to add an eggshell topper, but the mattress that it comes with is really good quality. You can tell it has a removable cover, so you can take that off if you want to wash the cover, and you can tell that it's a really good quality foam. I think mattresses are a very personal thing. They're really difficult to please everybody with. There's probably, you think about how many bed mattresses are out there on the market, and it's just impossible to build one single mattress that every single person is comfortable on. So the eggshell wasn't added because it was uncomfortable. It was just the fact that we thought that tiny little bit of extra shape on top would be right for us. So some people might find they're more than happy with exactly how it comes. Some people might want to do little additions and tweaks as well. We ran a queen size sheet on it, so it's 140 wide yeah, it's 140 centimeters wide, and it's a little bit longer than like your standard sort of double bed. So we found that it was a queen mattress, wasn't it? Yeah, Em's nodding. A queen fitted sheet fit over quite nicely. You just tuck the excess underneath, and we also ran a queen doona on it as well. Another thing that is an absolute game changer in hot weather is having Sirocco fans mounted to the ceiling of the tent inside. So the Bush Company make a bracket that's specially designed to have a Sirocco fan slide straight in, and it just gets riveted into the ceiling. So we ran 2 Sirocco fans, and they just come with a SIG plug that you just plug into the power inside the tent. They also have these nice canvas channels that run from the top all the way down to where the power plugs are, so that you can hide the cord for the Sirocco fan and it doesn't get in the way. So that's game changer, super handy, really, really good in hot weather. I definitely recommend doing that, so you don't have to muck around with like rechargeable fans and figure out how you're going to mount it and then they fall off on your head while you're sleeping. It's just annoying. Finally, another big question, very common question that we get is how much can you store inside the tent? How much can you keep in there and still close it? So it's annoying for people to have to take pillows and that kind of thing out, doonas. You don't want to take up precious backseat space or space inside your canopy. We left 2 thick latex sleeping pillows in there, along with another 2 thinner pillows. So in total, 4 pillows. We had a doona, probably about a medium thickness, so something that was kind of like an all-season doona. Like I said, the eggshell topper, the 80mm mattress that it comes with, and we also left the Sirocco fans in there as well. You kind of just push your doona back a little bit just to leave a little bit of extra space for those, because they fold up and down. We'd also often, more times than not, just through forgetting that it was there, we'd keep an iPad in the top storage pocket, sometimes like a little torch and a few little bits and pieces in our side pockets. Nothing major, but just like earplugs and, you know, cords that we wouldn't want to bring down. And it closes no dramas. So that is super helpful when you're out on the road, not having to pull that stuff up and down. In our previous setup, we played that game for an entire year as well, pulling pillows downstairs, literally unloading pretty much everything that was inside that tent, except for I think we got away with like a thin doona, but pillows, every single thing had to come down and get put inside the car. So makes a massive difference to your life if you can leave all of that stuff in there. When it's closed, the tent's about 280mm high, I think it is, so it does allow that extra space to keep pretty much all the bedding you could ask for inside the tent. Now, some people obviously go for that more slimline profile tent. Personal choice, I'd say. I wouldn't personally enjoy that trade-off of, you know, just to get a slightly slimmer tent and not be able to keep all of that stuff inside it and have to drag it in and out. I just personally, it doesn't appeal to me. So having, you know, what might be slightly taller than some others, I'd definitely consider whether it's, you know, whether it's right for you that you drag your gear in and out every 5 seconds. To me, that's just annoying. But if you did want a slimmer profile, the Bush Company now have the AX27, which is about 20 or 25 kilos lighter, and it is a slimmer profile as well. So I think it just depends on what you value and what your needs are. All right, so to wrap it up, I'm pretty sure I covered everything. Obviously there's a lot to it, and I probably can't think of every single question, but they're the most common questions that we get asked. Yeah, if there's anything that you think of that we haven't covered off, just let us know in the comments below or send us a DM and we'll get back to you. Overall, really, really happy with this. You do get what you pay for, both the tent and the awning. And you know, this is not our first rodeo. We've done plenty of camping and plenty of different types of setups, and yeah, it's served us incredibly well. The team at the Bush Company, obviously, you know, they obviously live this lifestyle themselves, and that really shows through in the product that they create. They create it for people who do exactly what we do. I kind of do, like doing these review videos, you feel like you have to bring out some kind of, you know, negative or less positive point just to sort of make the review sound a bit more realistic. But honestly, like there's just nothing went wrong. It's just really good quality. And yeah, we're absolute converts. We wouldn't be going back to any other kind of setup, and we're very, very happy that we're able to use such a good quality system for an entire lap around Australia. So thank you very much for watching. Like I said, sing out if there's any questions that you've got. We really appreciate you sticking around and watching the video and supporting the channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and we will see you next time.